Welcome to Rock Solid Productions, where in this video we are going to check out the Emio SwitchPad 5-in-1 controller set for the Nintendo Switch. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, Gary here with Rock Solid Productions, and before we dive into today's videos, just want to take a second here and say thank you for stopping by and checking out what we have going on here today with the Emio SwitchPad 5-in-1 controller. I have a feeling this thing's going to be a nightmare. If you like what you see here, I invite you to check out some of the other videos that we have here on the channel, including dedicated playlists just for the Switch and the Switch Lite. And if you really like what you see here, do me a huge favor. Hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and that bell notification. And what I want to know from you here today is, what is your favorite controller to use with the Nintendo Switch? I love the original Nintendo Pro Controller, but the KMD Pro controllers, for the money, these are about my favorite ones out there. So I recently posted on Twitter and Instagram that I was redoing the wiring for my game room. I wanted to be able to get all of my systems going into my capture card, so when I do actually decide to stream, I'll get back to streaming, I promise. That I can play any system and stream it without any issues. One of the things that I was looking to do is I have my Wii U and I really enjoy playing it. The problem is I want to be able to stream it too, and I haven't been able to do that. Got it all hooked up, and I got my Wii U Pro controller out, got it powered up, and I realized, you know, this uses mini instead of micro USB or USB-C. I don't have any good charging stands or anything for it. I went on to eBay to try to find a charging stand for this, and Nyko does make one. If you have one and want to get rid of it, let me know. I am looking for it. But what I found, completely by accident, was this monstrosity here. This is the Emio SwitchPad for Switch game console, and it promises to give you 5 different controllers in one box. So it'll have like a Switch Pro controller, Super Famicom, I'm not calling it Super NES because it's the wrong color and wrong shaped buttons, NES, Gamecube, and N64. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this out of the box, we're going to check it out, see how all of these different pieces fit, and see if it sucks. Let's go! So here we have the box for the SwitchPad for... I really don't have high hopes for this thing, but again, here you can see the face, how it's designed to look like a Switch Pro controller, and you have the buttons for Super Famicom, NES, N64, and GameCube, and an example on the side here of each of those, how they would work. Same thing on the back, and then a description basically of how everything works here on the side. We are going to pop this open, and I mean, if this works for games like Smash Brothers, it would be terrific. So much stuff. So you have a call out here for firmware updates where you can go ahead and download the latest firmware, and on the back side here, same thing. So good that they're working to keep everything updated. You have the manual itself. You have a USB-C charge cable, which is nice, and this sucker's long and thick. Here's the controller itself. The grips are like a texturized rubber, I would say. Actually don't feel terrible, but I can't say the same about the triggers. These are terrible, and they have sharp points on them. Like, that's a sharp point right there. That's... Actually, it's just that's the sharp point. Oh, that's a bad design. That's a sharp point. I may just take my X-Acto knife and knock that down. That sucks. Analog sticks don't feel terrible. D-pad is a little mushy, but not bad. These are really stiff, I'll say that much. I can't believe that they actually shipped this design with that. Here, let's give you a closer look. So if you look here, that little bit of plastic that's sticking out, that's gonna catch your finger or thumb every time. That's bad. Actually, it's gonna get you right there in the finger. That's a bad design. So there's how it comes out of the box. And then again, you have inserts for NES. Wow, those buttons are firm. Give you a look at the back of that. Super Famicom. These feel better. The NES buttons feel terrible. These feel decent. N64, these are small. Wow. I would say this splits the difference between the NES and the N64. Let's try Gamecube. Yeah, this is similar to the NES. These are really, really firm. Yeah, those are not good. All right, let's take a look at the manual for this thing. So contents, the controller, USB-C cable, the different inserts and the clasps and everything. Battery indicator, power button, home button, start button, left stick. I mean, everything's pretty straightforward. Sync button is below on the bottom, as you're looking at the back of the controller, the bottom right, and then there's a factory reset kind of above that. You can connect via USB pairing, or you can use Bluetooth. So I wonder if this, again, I looked at this, or I found this because I was looking for a controller for my Wii U. I wonder if it'll work or not. Has charging indicators, which is nice, that it looks like it has, it'll actually let you know the level of charge, and then just their manual and or their warranty and everything. So I am curious to see how much of a pain it is to change this out. I'm gonna just use my thumb. Oh, actually popped out pretty easily there. So there's the analog stick, just kind of, hello, I'm just here. There's no real tips to release it. All right, they need to have some kind of like an eject mechanism or something on here. All right, so there it is out. These probably, the thing that's sad is it's basically the same button layout as the Super Famicom, and those two feel the best, but like the NES one, just terrible. But let's put the NES one in and let's see how it looks. So it just slides in right like that. And we have a baggie of covers to go over to kind of complete the look and theme and everything. So we'll start with the NES. Okay, now it's on. I mean, it's okay. Yeah, I mean, it's not great, but it's okay. I like the styling, the fact that it looks like an NES controller, kind of. I mean, you can see the inspiration for it at least. Should not have been that blasted hard to get on though. And there's like no tips or anything in the manual. At least, hey, that one popped right out on how to make it go in and out any easier. So I'm gonna put Super Famicom in. The gray one here is supposed to be for the Super Famicom. Which, why they did the like the branding and everything for the NES style controller, but none of the others. Like there should be purple and stuff on here for the Super Famicom or the Super NES. I just feel like I'm gonna break these stupid things before I even get them in place. So there's Super Famicom. Again, that feels decent. These triggers are just terrible. This is just garbage. So I don't know if you can see there, but it's already stress split right there. That's not good. Okay, this is just a bad design. Wow! It shouldn't be that difficult. All right, let's try the N64 ones. I mean, the one nice thing about it is the fact that there are these little keys and indexes here to line everything up to make sure that the contacts line up as they should. And even look at that flashing right there. That's, you know, we're gonna just go and buzz that off real quick. Okay, so there's how the N64 looks. Yeah, these are way too small. I mean, it's one of those, and I don't have ginormous hands, but I'm gonna have to look at what I'm doing as I'm hitting each of the buttons. And quite honestly, so I'm thinking for Super Mario 3D, or for Super Mario 64, you know, normally this stick is your C buttons. Will these actually work as your C buttons? You know, as they should. Lastly, let's check out, oh, come on. The Gamecube one. Killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. You know, same thing on here. You got a bunch of junk flashing on there that should be removed. I wonder if this one's got that too. Not really. So we're gonna go ahead and, you know, this is stuff that should never pass QA like that. So basically where that was would sit like right here on the controller, and it would prevent the faceplate from sitting on properly, one would think. Who knows if they even cared. So that part's down. Yeah, these are way small I would like to see, you have all this area here that they could have gone with a bigger, yeah, not a fan. But we're going to do some gameplay real quick and just see, does it suck? So we have everything paired up here on the Switch. As you can see, I can go up and down. Everything is working just fine. I've actually left the right side faceplate off, easy for me to say, just because they're such a pain to take on and off. So we will dive into Yooka-Laylee. You know, I'm gonna have to put a faceplate on because it's missing button presses. So just to eliminate that from being an issue, we're gonna actually put one on, which I really don't want to. So the main thing I'm looking for here is just, you know, how the button responses work. All right, we've got all down here. Let's see where this takes us. Right stick is working okay as far as moving the camera around. Analog stick feels wandery. It doesn't feel very precise. Now, if the level design and everything on this looks familiar or similar to something else, this is actually the same basic design team that did Donkey Kong 64. Part of my problem right now is I'm forgetting what I have to do to make certain moves because it's been a while since I've played that. I mean, for an action platformer, it's doing okay. All right, so now we are going to go, let's go to the home page, and we're going to start with the NES and pull our way forward. So we're going to start with the Nintendo Online service. While you have the option of using the different faceplates and whatnot, you don't have to use them. So it seems like this black one so far is going on and coming off the easiest, so that's the one I'm going to continue to use. We're going to go into the NES Online service. We'll go into some Mario Brothers 2. Now the unique thing about this is the fact that it actually does have the buttons, you know, the same way that the original NES controller pad was. And for this I am also using the D-pad on the left-hand side. Actually not terrible. I mean, hit a button, it responds. It's weird that it's an NES button layout, I guess. But I mean, it's doing its thing. Well, that was weird how Toad just kind of ducked down and I was pressing right. Or he did it again. And again. Alright, we're going to switch the analog stick here because the D-pad is causing some issues right now. Analog stick so far is working fine. Until right there. Wow! So the analog stick is not providing the precise control that I really want or am looking for either, but the D-pad randomly presses down. Oh, this is, I mean, for a second it felt like, okay, this is kind of okay, I can use this, and then it reminds me, no, you really can't. That could have been really terrible. And I was hitting B there to let the bomb go. It blew up in my hands. So I got one shot, and I missed it. This is just all sorts of frustrating right now. It has moments where it's like, this isn't bad, and then it has other moments where it's like, yeah, this is garbage. Yeah, D-pad is just not very good. And unfortunately, the analog stick, not much better. Woo. I'm glad that I was able to pull that off there. Alright, let's see if we can't beat Birdo. And I don't mean Birdo Prey 5. Got him. So, as we're going through the bonus chance here, Super Mario 2. Did not care for the D-pad a whole lot on NES games. Analog stick felt very imprecise. Buttons felt okay, but there were a couple times where it felt like it was missing button presses. We're going to move to the Super Famicom games. I wasn't kidding, we were going to play the Super Famicom Switch Online side of things. Now, while the buttons are different, the D-pad is the same, so I'm expecting to have D-pad issues. This is feeling better. I mean, it's not great, but it's definitely, I'm not having the issue where it was pressing down randomly on, like it was on Super Mario 2. spelled out Kong. There's one of these where I think there's another bonus. There we go. Ah! That was me. That was all me. Let's try another one real quick, because F-Zero will be a good test too of the analog stick along with the buttons and the shoulder buttons too. Okay, so that's working just fine. I just feel like it's so imprecise. Alright, down to 4th, and this is like one of my best games. I mean, that's not saying much, quite honestly, because I suck. Not great. I've switched to the D-pad now, just to see if that's any better. Since that's what this game was designed for, was a D-pad versus an analog stick. By the way, on jumps like that, if you press down, you'll actually land more softly and carry more speed out of it. Such epic music on this game too. It's one of my favorite games, or one of my favorite levels on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the F-Zero stage. Got another turbo, but I've got some work to do. There's the leader coming up ahead of us, and he threw the block. I mean, I don't think that Joey Logano throws blocks as bad as that. Maybe Ryan Newman? Alright, there we go. We've got the lead. Let's see if we can't hang on to it. Beautiful. Now let's move to a game that we would play on, not the GameCube, that's last. We're going to go to the N64. Super Mario 3D All-Stars, the perfect test sled here for the N64 type controls, because we now have Mario 64 on the Switch, which is pretty sweet. Just felt the rumble for the first time, and I mean, felt decent. I mean, it's not as powerful as like the stock OEM Pro controller, but it's there. All right, so here's the test. Let's see what the C buttons do. C buttons are worthless as far as camera. All the C buttons are A and B. This is terrible. Okay, can I remap? Let's go here to controllers, because that is not going to work. So the D-pad actually runs Mario around, which is not supposed to be the case. There's the analog stick. You know what, we're going to go back and just do whatever the back is, because that was not working well for me. Now, one of the things I want to test too with this is like how precise the analog stick is. So, barely pushing forward, Mario creeps. So that's pretty decent. Yeah, I've got to use the stick buttons as B, since both B and A are set up as basically the same button. Well, the shoulder buttons work well for crouching and whatnot, so there's that. Let's see if we can get this guy knocked out. Yeah, it does not deliver on the promise that I kind of wish that it would with the button mapping. It is not duplicating what an N64 controller would do if it were, like even the Brawler 64. Yeah, that's disappointing out of the box that it doesn't. Well, here's the thing, is that this is not something that was probably even thought of when they developed this, so I've got to give a little bit of grace there, but still, if you're going to do an N64 button layout, it needs to function like the N64. Well, I don't remember how I have to get there, so we're just going to grab this one for now. And next, we're going to move on to the GameCube style controller, and we're going to throw Smash Brothers in and see how it works. I will say, out of all of the buttons so far, this one feels the firmest. And again, I am not a very proficient Smash player, so we'll see what happens here. But again, these buttons feel terrible. Yeah, I'm having a tremendous time just trying to make stuff happen here. So the A and B buttons are working okay for me. The analog sticks, I'm sorry, the D-pad isn't doing much. Let's see, hopefully we can get Donkey on that one. There, we got him on that one. Yeah, I just feel like the buttons are limiting what I can do here a little bit. The analog stick doesn't feel terrible in this. We may be going to sudden death, or he may win this. All right, we're gonna wrap it up because, yeah, it's time to wrap it up. So in the end, what do I think of the Emio 5-in-1 switch pad? This thing is such garbage. It's not even funny. Actually, it is a little bit funny that it's this bad. Now, thankfully, I paid about $10 for it off of eBay. I've seen like Kohl's listed these and some other retailers along those lines. Avoid this. This thing is not good by any stretch of the imagination. So a few things. First and foremost, normally any controller that I test out that has a rechargeable battery in it, when I first get it, I power it on, it has a little bit of charge. This had nothing, which is kind of weird, and actually with some lithium batteries, kind of scary. If you take it below 3 volts per cell on like a lithium polymer battery, you could have severe issues and it may not work. I did charge it with the OEM Nintendo Switch charger for maybe 3 hours, and that seemed to be fine. There's just so many bad things about it. Let's talk about some good things about it. The grips are actually comfortable. The analog sticks feel okay, and I just did something here behind me which I didn't want it to do. Pairing to the system was pretty easy. Literally all I had to do was hit the pair button underneath here during the screen where it says, you know, pair controllers, and it paired up for me. I was a little disappointed that it would not pair just by having it connected via USB. A lot of controllers will do that. This did not. Now, I haven't updated the firmware on it. I have no interest in updating the firmware on it. I have no interest in using this ever again. This thing is pretty much as bad as I thought it would be. I actually even cut myself a little bit on the back of my thumb here on this controller, which is really weird. The grips, well, they have that molded kind of or that rubberized sort of texture here. Like around this part on the grip, it actually had some sharp points and gouged me in the hands. And don't get me started about this part here on how it's got that extra like sharp point. That's just such a bad design. Switching out faceplates so that you can put the different buttons in should never be that hard. You know what? Give me 2 small jeweler's screws, like here and here, that I just screw it in, lift it on, lift it off. Fine. Give me that. That's better than what we have here. And on the faceplates that it came with, there was excess flashing on there, which made it difficult to get it to seat on here properly. They didn't want to come off. Garbage. This controller, garbage. So many better options out there, and of course it just went to that. But these are my opinions, and let me know what you think down below in the comments section. It's a neat concept, but the execution, get out of here. It's terrible. Now, let me know again down in the comments, have you tried one of these? What were your experiences? And again, the reason why I even bought this in the first place was I was on the hunt for a charger dock for my Wii U Pro controller. If you have one, if you know where I can find one, please message me, leave information down in the comments, and no, it would not pair to the Wii U, so that's the other thing here too. Now, if you do have any other comments or questions, as always, feel free to email me at rocksolidmail@gmail.com. You can hit me up on Twitter at RockSolidStudios. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/RockSolidProductions, and on Instagram at instagram.com/RockSolidProductionsGK. Now, if you are looking for good controllers to use for the Switch, head on over to CastleManiaGames.com. He has a ton of different options out there, wired and wireless, from companies like Retrobit, Hyperkin, 8-Bit Dough. He's been getting some of that stuff back in, and Retro Fighters. All good stuff up on there. You can also go ahead and use promo code ROCKSOLID10 to save 10% off of most items on the website. It's so bad. It's just so bad. It's such a bad controller. And finally, if you do want to help support the future of Rock Solid Productions, so we can do things like buy an Emio 5-in-1 controller so you don't have to, you can do so in a couple of different ways. The easiest way, share this video, give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and make sure you are subscribed. That way, each and every time we do upload new content, you are kept the most up to date. That's the easiest way to support us. You can also support us by heading on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/rocksolid. For as little as $1 a month, $12 a year, you get early access to all of our videos, exclusive videos, and a whole lot more. You can also become a channel member here on YouTube. That starts at $1.99 a month. You get all those same benefits and features plus neat little badges next to your name. So if you comment or post on one of our community posts or on a video, you're kind of acknowledged there as a supporter of the channel. And then finally, like I mentioned at the top of this video, if you like what you see here, if you want to see more, hit that thumbs up button, that subscribe button, and that bell notification. That way you are kept up to date. Yeah, this thing here, this thing, trash. It's so bad. The analog sticks felt okay, sometimes. The D-pad felt okay, sometimes. The N64 D-pad or N64 buttons, completely useless. They were there just for looks. They did not function at all like the N64 buttons. Gamecube buttons, they looked okay. They're really small. The NES buttons looked okay, didn't function well. Super NES buttons, if you're going to use those, you might as well just keep the Pro Controller buttons because it's the same button layout. Anyways, I am Gary, this has been Rock Solid Productions, and our look at the Emio 5-in-1 Switch controller. It's bad. Avoid it. I hope to see you soon.